Hey guys, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all my Muslim brothers and sisters out there. To everybody else, hello, welcome to my channel. It's Wellness Wednesdays again, guys. I know I missed last week. I did a live chat about why I missed last week. I am still sick, yes, and I'm in an intense amount of pain today as well as yesterday, and I'll talk about that in this video. It does have to do with my Tourette syndrome. So I'm going to wait for a little, I'm not going to really go into like the video until I get some people watching, so that people don't get confused, because I'm going to start by explaining what Tourette syndrome is. Sorry, this is my amazing infuser bottle, it's great, but I have to mix it up because there's honey in the bottom and my throat is killing me, so I need some tea. So herbal tea it is, because I can't do caffeine. Okay, let that cool down a little bit. Alright, so, update on me really quick. As you can hear, I'm sick. That is why I miss Wellness Wednesdays, because when I need a certain amount of sleep, and my body decides how much sleep that is every night. So like last night, Jupiter was out, went to bed at, she said 8 o'clock, which is insanely early for me lately. And actually, it's insanely early in general. Hello, walaikum assalam. So Jupiter put us to bed early at 8 o'clock, and then woke back up, she said, at 10. Okay, so what Jupiter said was that she woke up at 10, and Sally didn't want to play with her. Sally's her roommate. So she went back to sleep. Walaikum assalam. I'm so happy I have people watching. I'll explain that in a second, but let me finish up this. So, and we slept until 10:20 today. That's a lot of sleep. So my body decides how much sleep I need. Some days I don't sleep very much at all. But alhamdulillah, I got a lot of sleep last night and I feel good. So the reason why I am so super happy to see people on my live chat is that I did a live chat yesterday, 27 minutes, and it was on the wrong channel. And I was so mad when I went and looked, and I was like, Jacqueline, what did you just do? Like, and I was so happy with the way it turned out. It was great. It was talking about my Tourette syndrome and about an incident that happened a couple days ago. I actually got sent to the emergency room. Actually, that's part of why I'm in so much pain. But yeah, I was like watching and nobody was in the live chat, which is odd because it was about the same time when I usually do Wellness Wednesdays. And I saw it was on the wrong channel. I was like, are you kidding me? And originally I had it pre-recorded because I really didn't want, I wanted to be able to focus and process what happened that day. Well, that night, really. But my computer was glitching and it wouldn't connect to my iPhone, which I actually think might be an iPhone problem, but I'm not going to go into that right now. So yeah, I talked about what happened a couple days ago in good detail and got it all out and felt better, and then it was on the wrong channel. Yep. But today I'm here, so there's a couple people watching, so I'm going to go into what Tourette syndrome is now. So hold on. Sorry that I was drinking so slow, but that is very hot tea. Okay, so what is Tourette syndrome? So I know that my channel is mainly about mental illness, but Tourette syndrome is actually not a mental illness. It is a neurological disorder, and it is quick reminder, I don't do off-topic questions in the beginning of my videos for Wellness Wednesdays because we're focused on the topic, but the last 10 minutes I do. So I'll have to scroll back and read your comments in the last 10 minutes of this video. Anyways, so it's characterized by movements and vocalizations that are either involuntary or semi-voluntary. And these are called tics, either motor, where you move in your body, or vocal, where it's like a sound or words and phrases that you say. And these are all completely, there is no control over them. when people with Tourette syndrome are doing it. And like I said, it's not a mental illness, it's a neurological disorder, which means it's a malfunction of the brain. It's a brain disorder. So it's not something that anybody can control. I'm not saying that mental illness can be controlled, but it's not something that you can just go to therapy for and get better. It's something that you have to go through a lot of medications sometimes, and I know in the most severe cases that there's actually, and I don't know enough about it to go into detail, but it's basically brain surgery where they implant a device in your brain that can help counteract the tics so that you don't tic anymore. Sorry, guys. That's like in extreme cases, but Tourette syndrome isn't just, you know, like movements. It can be, like I said, severe. And so for me, sorry, let me keep going on what Tourette syndrome is before I go into mine, but Tourette syndrome is a disorder that waxes and wanes, meaning that it gets better and worse. So it's not just something that stays constant. You don't, and a lot of people have like multiple different types of tics. So tics can be anything from clearing your throat, which that's not my tic, I just did that because I'm sick, but it can be clearing your throat, or it can be making noises or saying words or even saying phrases. And I have come up, my Tourette syndrome has come up with some very interesting phrases. And actually Tourette syndrome is most commonly known for a symptom called coprolalia. And coprolalia is when you swear, your Tourette syndrome makes you swear or say offensive things. And in reality, this is a symptom of Tourette syndrome that only affects about 10% of the people with it. I am part of that 10%, but alhamdulillah, throughout, as I'm getting worse lately, it's not, my coprolalia hasn't really been present. So I'm pretty good with coping with my Tourette syndrome. It's, the coprolalia is the only part that really gets to me. I don't like it because I feel like I have this mentality that I need to be a model citizen because I'm visibly Muslim and I have to set a good example. But with Tourette syndrome, I can't control what comes out of my mouth sometimes. And like a really cool thing that I found about vocal tics is that I can tic words, I have no idea what they mean. And the first time that happened, it took me by surprise. I was like, wait, what? And I never really know what my vocal tics are going to be most of the time. So after it comes out of my mouth, I either end up laughing if it's like phrases, or I'm like, oh my god, did I just say that? So I guess that's more on the milder side. On the severe side, Tourette syndrome can be as bad as convulsions that last for hours. And my Tourette syndrome, when my cycle goes from mild to severe, so I do have severe Tourette syndrome. But for me, it's not. For some people, severe Tourette's is you're taking constantly, nonstop. For me, it's episodes that last for hours that put me in danger of hurting myself. So, ouch, 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 ouch. I do get tics where I'm like thrashing about on the floor. And it's really dangerous for me to have those convulsion tics, especially if I'm alone and there's no one there to help me, because it's very easy for me to hit my head on things, and it's very taxing on my body. It takes a big toll on my body. So let me just make sure I cover all my bases on what Tourette syndrome is, and then I'll go into why I had to go to the emergency room the other day. But motor tics can be as simple as like twitching your head. God, that hurts. Sorry. That was a tic. I have neck tics, and I mainly have like dystonic tics. Walaikum assalam. I mostly have dystonic tics, which is where your muscles clench up, and that can be really hard for me because it's my body hurts when these things happen, but my brain doesn't understand that this is hurting me. We need to stop because it's a problem in my brain. Walaikum assalam. I'm not a brother. Don't call me bro. I'm kidding. um, sorry. So it doesn't listen to the signs and signals to stop, because it's not something that, it's like my brain is not listening to my body or my intentions. So I often feel like my body is sabotaging me because I'm getting hurt. I'm I'm embarrassing myself, and there's nothing I can do about it. And trust me, if there was a magic miracle pill that had no side effects that would make my Tourette's just become where I can function and not be a danger to myself, I would take it. But there isn't. And there's no cure for Tourette syndrome, so there's nothing that I can do that'll make my Tourette's go away. It's just how you can manage it. So, sorry, I'm gonna drink some more tea, and hopefully I won't sound like a scratchy record. This one. Okay, it did help. Okay, alhamdulillah. Anyways, so for me, my Tourette's lately, I was on a medication called Haldol or haloperidol, and that was to treat my schizoaffective disorder, the psychotic symptoms, but it also treated my Tourette's, and it helped my Tourette's immensely to the point where you couldn't even tell I have Tourette's, which in most of my videos, people who have a basic idea of what Tourette syndrome is wouldn't assume that I do have Tourette syndrome. There was a point in time when my tics were very noticeable, but after coming off the Haldol, my tics were still very mild, and I'm just now starting to go back up on the intensity and severity scale with my Tourette syndrome. And for me, this started out, like I said, with like dystonic tics and facial tics. So my legs would cramp up and I couldn't move, or my stomach would cramp up. Abdominal tics are the worst. I hate them so much because they hurt so bad. It's where my whole abdomen, and sometimes while these are happening, it spreads to my legs or my chest, like where I get like chest pains too, and in my arms, and sometimes it can be like my whole body. But my abdomen tenses up so tight that I can't even breathe. And this usually happens in like waves, and usually I get like a couple seconds in between, or sometimes usually it's only like a second or two to get some air in, and it'll start all over again. And it's so bad that I've almost thrown up a couple times because of the pressure that it puts on my stomach. So yeah, it's very uncomfortable, and I don't like it at all. And these are immobilizing. It makes it to where I can't get up, I can't move, I can't do anything. But that's how it started out recently, was with those and with facial tics. So for me, my facial tics can be anything as like making weird faces like that. That's a tic. I'm not doing it on purpose, it's because I'm talking about it. But it can also be and you guys saw this in one of my live videos. I think it was last Wellness Wednesdays that this happened. But I have a tic where my eyes squint up, and they shut really tight, and then they flutter, so they go like this really, really fast, and I can't see. And even when it stops clenching and fluttering and my eyes are just closed, I can't open them because then it'll start all over again. So these are very frustrating for me because obviously my sight's taken away from me at any given point in time. Tourette syndrome is not, really quick, it's not dependent on anxiety or stress, but for a lot of people, when you are feeling high emotions, your Tourette syndrome will get worse, or you'll start ticking if you weren't before. So for me, it's any high emotion. I tic when I get really excited, so it's not even just like anxiety or stress. But lately, I haven't been really that excited to where I'd start ticking like that, except no, that one time, really off topic, but I don't know if you guys can see, hold on, I gotta figure out where, right there, that right there, that sign says happy pumpkin spice season, And oh, I got papers and stuff up there. Sorry guys, usually I clean it up before I do a video. But I love pumpkin spice. And I love the pumpkin spice lattes, like the refrigerated ones that you get at the stores from Starbucks. And I found a big jug of them at Walmart, and I was so excited. I ran and almost slipped and fell on my way to the fridge in Walmart. It was great. Anyways, so like when I get really excited, my tics get worse, and also when I'm presently feeling anxious, like in the moment, I can start ticking. Or after a really long day, which is what happened a couple days ago, I'll start ticking. And it's been lately, if it's been the type where it happens after a long day, it's pretty intense, and I just kind of have to wait for it to go away. But with my facial tics, alhamdulillah, I'm lucky enough to where I can still function, not being able to see. So, for example, if I'm at my grandmother's house, which is where I used to live, or if I'm at my house, I know the house enough to navigate without being able to see. So usually like I like run my hand along the walls so that I know where I'm at, or you know, like using my hands to guide myself around the area that I'm in, using the past knowledge that I have of where everything should be. But I'm still able to go out places like that if I go with my roommate, because she knows how to guide me around, which is very helpful. So yeah, she has experience working with other people who can't see, guiding them around. So when I started having these tics, alhamdulillah, it was a blessing to have her, because she kind of knows what she's doing. So when it happens like in a store or when we're out somewhere, I don't have to, you know, pack up in the car and go home. You know, it was funny because the other day we were at some store, and we had planned to go to, oh, I think it was Marshall's. We were at Marshall's, and we had planned to go to the new Bath and Body Works store that had opened near it afterwards. Well, I started ticking in Marshall's and I couldn't see, and we left, and she was like, so I guess we'll just go to Bath and Body Works later. I'm like, no, we're going today. I'm like, I can't see it, but I can smell it. So we went to Bath and Body Works, and it was a great experience. But yeah, so that's my other tic. But the other day, let me backtrack really quick to a couple of years ago. They started me on a drug for my psychotic features called Invega. One second. And this drug caused a severe reaction, or at least what we had thought was a reaction to the Invega. Still could have been, but the fact that it happened again recently is concerning for me. But I would, every day, I would have severe convulsions, and it's really intense and unsafe. And this would happen in group, and we'd just wait for it to go away. One day, it didn't just go away. They had to take me in an ambulance to the emergency room, where they basically did nothing but tell me, you have anxiety, and this is a reaction to your anxiety, which it was not. So like I said before, Tourette syndrome can be influenced by emotions, but it's not dependent on them, meaning you don't have to, I can be laying in bed, had a wonderful day, relaxing, and I'll start ticking. So it's not dependent on any type of emotion. But that attack lasted 3 hours. 3 hours of convulsions and dystonic tics, mostly where like my back was arching and my whole body would tense up. And a couple days ago, I had a really, really long day, and I've been counting all the things that really stressed me out that day. And there was just so much, like even yesterday I was still coming up with things that had happened. And this happened 2 nights ago. I actually still have my hospital bracelet on, haven't taken it off yet. Don't ask me why, I just haven't got around to it. But I was home alone and I started ticking on my bed. I started thrashing about, and I kind of know the drill for this now, what I'm supposed to do to keep myself safe. So I moved myself to the floor in between convulsion fits, and I put a pillow down so I didn't hit my head. Regardless, I still hit my head quite a few times, but alhamdulillah, I don't have a concussion or anything, so I'm fine. And if you want an idea of what tic attacks can look like, I'll give you a link in the description. I think inshallah I'll get there to I Drank the Seawater. This is a YouTuber, her name is Melissa. She also has Tourette syndrome, and she posted a video of what her tic attacks look like. And I think that was very helpful for raising awareness. I had done this once too, but that was before I was in hijab, so I obviously took it down. It was on my old channel. Sorry guys, my throat hurts. Anyway, so I'm convulsing on the floor, and I it started around 9:30, and I think around like 10 o'clock I was like, okay, this is not good. I was scared because I couldn't breathe because I was convulsing so bad that I couldn't get air through my system, so I was out of breath and I was dizzy. And I have a Fitbit that does heart rate as well. I freaking love my Fitbit. So I was like checking my Fitbit, and I was looking at what my heart rate was. And if you guys don't know anything about heart rates, the normal like resting heart rate is Walaikum assalam. I don't care. I love my Fitbit. My Fitbit's great. I'm sorry you don't like yours. Anyways, so I was looking at my Fitbit and I was watching my heart rate climb. So a resting heart rate for me is around 64 or 70. So in between like 64 and 75 usually is my resting heart rate. And when my heart rate got to 140 beats per minute, I was like, okay, this isn't safe. And I was remembering the last time that I went to the emergency room for it, they had to put me on oxygen because I wasn't getting enough air. And I realized that this is becoming very unsafe and I need extra help. So I didn't want to call 911 by myself, and obviously I can't. I'm convulsing on the floor. I can't go and get help or take myself to the emergency room, also because I didn't have the car. But more importantly, I'm convulsing on the floor, so I can't go take myself to the emergency room. So I'm calling people, and I'm well aware, like my bedroom, which is where I was, it's on the second floor. I was not able to get down the stairs, so I realized that we'd probably gonna have to call somebody to come and get me, as in like calling 911. But I didn't want to do that by myself, so I was calling everybody I knew. My roommate had passed out at a friend's house a while before that, so she didn't even hear her phone ringing. And it got to the point where I had to call myself, and that was very stressful for me. Because I'm home alone, I had to call 911, and they sent the fire department and an ambulance to come and get me. And I'm on the phone with the operator. Keep in mind, I am convulsing on the floor this whole time, and he's trying to get me to talk to him, and I can barely breathe. And when they get there, I hear a knock at the door, and he's like, all right, can you go open the door? And I'm like, I can't get down the stairs. So then he told me, he's like, well, if we can't get in the house, we're gonna have to break the door down. Can we break the door down? We have to get your permission. And I started sobbing, and I was like, Sally's gonna kill me. Yeah. So they ended up not breaking down the door, alhamdulillah, because that would have been bad. But Instead, they used the ladder and climbed through my roommate's window because it was open. Otherwise, they were gonna break a window and come in and get me. And so they come in, and I'm on the floor, on my side, thrashing around, and they tell me that they do like try to get me to do breathing exercises because, like I said, I couldn't breathe. So focus on breathing in through my nose and not through my mouth, because like I was breathing so hard that like my mouth was dry, and this had been going on for a while. I don't think they got there till like 10:30, 10:40, something along those lines. So they got me on my back, which is, I was avoiding going on my back because usually when I'm having these types of tics, it doesn't stop. It just keeps going. And then that poses a greater risk to myself because then my head is going, oh god, sorry, my head is going like this, and so when I'm sideways on the floor and my head goes like this, it's no big deal. I just get a bunch of knots in my hair from my head going, the friction with my hair and the pillow. So like this, no big deal. Like this, bad idea. So it's, I wanted to avoid further injury to myself, especially since I didn't have anybody there to keep the pillow under my head, which is how I ended up hitting my head, because my head would slide off the pillow and I'd like try and grab the pillow and keep it under my head, but I didn't have any help, so that's how I ended up hitting my head. Hold on. So that's how I ended up hitting my head those times, but I didn't want to get on my back because of that. But they got me on my back and it actually stopped my convulsive tics. And at this point now it was only dystonic, but basically like I curled up in a ball and couldn't breathe, so it was like severe dystonic tics at this point, which I'm more used to, but this was really, really bad. From the whole thing, I was sweating so hard that after I left the emergency room and I went to put my clothes back on, it was as if I went swimming in my clothes and wrung out my shirt and put it on. And that was really gross to put that back on, but I didn't have any other clothes in the hospital, so I had to wear those. And this whole time, like, I was crying because I was so stressed out. I was scared for my health. I was scared because both the operator and the medics who came to get me were male, and not only was I not in hijab, but I have PTSD, and so being around men that I don't know is very stressful for me. And also I've had very bad experiences with emergency personnel for various reasons, and police. Not like I got myself into any trouble, but it left little marks, and I had a hard time. So it was hard for me to call to begin with. And so I'm like freaking out, and then like usually when I'm not in hijab and there's an emergency like that, I freak out even worse because I'm like, I need my hijab, I need to be dressed, this is crazy. But at that point in time, I was more concerned for my health and more scared than anything, so I didn't, and I know, like, it was an emergency, so there's no way I could have gotten in hijab, and obviously because it's for like medical reasons, it's not, I didn't do anything wrong, and they had to take my clothes anyways to hook me up to all the heart monitors, so it wasn't like Islamically, like from a an Islamic ruling, I didn't do anything wrong by not wearing hijab, because not only was, like I said, it for an emergency, like medical treatment, but it would have been very unsafe for me to be convulsing on the floor with something wrapped around my neck. So, but anyways, so they're trying to get me to calm down, and then I hear Sally. And at this point, I thought they had broken through the window, because this is what I was told that they were going to do, was to break through the window. But they ended up just going through the window. But I didn't know this until afterwards. And I heard Sally, and I'm like, Sally, please don't be mad at me. And she's like, I'm not mad at you, but we need to do something about this because this is getting... We agreed that I needed to see a neurologist again and seek out further treatment, because before I had seen a neurologist, but this was when I was in pediatrics still, and she had said that she didn't want to treat me so that she didn't mess up any of my psych meds, so she wanted me to be treated through my psychiatric team. But I'm definitely going back to see a neurologist. I have to make some phone calls today. I do have a referral. So I have to do that today. It's on my list of priorities. But anyways, back to my story. So Sally wasn't upset with me, and they didn't have to break the window or the door, which is very nice. Let me check what time it is, guys. Sorry. Okay, we've got like 10 more minutes, and then I'll answer all the questions that you guys asked that weren't related to this topic. But they ended up, how they got me to the emergency room was first they told me, like, while I was convulsing, that they have no way of getting me down the stairs. There's no safe way to do that when I'm convulsing on the floor. But when it stopped, they put me in a sling, like where they like carry you like this. Like it's a piece of like tarp kind of that goes like this, and they have handles, and I'm like inside. And they carried me down the stairs into the ambulance and took me basically around the corner to the hospital. And when I was in the ambulance, they checked my heart rate, and it was over 160, which is insanely high. Like I told you guys before, my resting heart rate is about 65 to 75. And I was 160, so that's very dangerous. So they kept trying to do breathing exercises with me, and by the time we got to the emergency room, it had calmed down enough to where I could talk a bit, and I opened my eyes, which I wasn't able to do before. And I'm so sorry, guys. I'm flustered here a little bit, but they got me all hooked up to everything. They had put an IV in me in the ambulance and hooked me up to some fluids. But when I got to the emergency room after everything calmed down, it fell out. And it wasn't out all the way to where like I would have been bleeding all over the place. But it did fall out, and I was like, I think it's falling out. I think this is not in my arm anymore. And when it happened, once I sweat off the tape that held in the IV, because I was sweating so bad, and let me collect myself. Hold on, I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm still sick, so I'm not feeling my best. When I was in the hospital, when I was in the emergency room, they put in a second IV in this arm, which this one hurt, this one didn't, and I didn't mind. Like, this is my good vein. This is where I was getting my blood drawn from. This one hurt, and I was not happy with it. And every time the blood pressure cuff would go off, I wouldn't be able to feel my hands, and like it would hurt where the IV was much worse being up there. But so eventually they slowed down and stopped on their own, which is usually what I have to do with my tic attacks. My heart rate went down. I was fine, and eventually I was able to go home. And the funny part is that I wasn't in a job. I didn't have my glasses, and I'm very nearsighted. Like I can see this clearly right now. I don't know if you guys can see. Right here. This far back is blurry. So I need my glasses. I didn't have them, and I didn't even have socks or shoes. So I was about to walk out there barefoot, but Sally's like, no, like, well, the nurse will give you hospital socks. So I got hospital socks, and I walked out, and I was wearing leggings and a t-shirt. And I don't, being out in public in leggings and a t-shirt is not okay. So I like pulled my shirt down and tried to cover my rear with it so that I wasn't like walking out like, oh my gosh. So it was an interesting experience, but I knew that the next day I was going to be really, really sore, and I was. So yesterday, it happened 2 nights ago. Yesterday when I woke up, I was in intense pain, and I still am today. I'm in a lot of pain. Sorry guys, I know I keep moving around a lot, but my whole body hurts. It's a little better today. I can walk around without cringing, I guess. I have a high pain tolerance, and I think if I didn't, I would probably be laid up in bed and not be able to get out of bed. But throughout the years, between trauma and just medical problems that I have in general, I've developed a very high pain tolerance. So like even just moving my head hurts, and I had a feeling that my head and my neck were going to take the brunt of the pain afterwards because of how violently my head was going back and forth. So definitely like right here, these muscles, and here, like it's all around my neck. It hurts. So like talking hurts, moving my head around hurts. I have a huge bruise on my hip on the side that I was laying on the floor on. Just everything hurts so bad. So I would really appreciate it if you guys would pray for me a bit so that I can get better quicker, inshallah. Because it's a lot of pain. But I'm getting through. Being positive. Yesterday I thought I was going to have another attack, which is, I think was why we switched, because I was having such bad anxiety about it. And the thing is that when you think about your tics, they get worse. And worrying about, am I going to have an attack, stressed me out so much that I started ticking. And I didn't want to have an attack, and then like right after that is when the switch happened and Jupiter came out. Anyway, so Jupiter came out after that, and I woke up this morning. But yeah, no, it's still sore. And yesterday morning when I first woke up, I hopped right in the shower, and I did that again today to just get some hot water on my muscles and relax them and hopefully make them feel a little bit better. And yesterday I also had huge knots in my hair to take out from, like I said before, like the friction of my head moving back and forth on the pillow. I had knots like this big in my hair, and I just spent a long time in the shower yesterday, just like finger combing and combing them out with a bunch of conditioner lather all up in my hair. So yeah, that's my story. Let's see what time it is. I got about 5 minutes before I take questions that are not related to the video. And I'm sorry if you left before I answered your question, but I don't answer off-topic questions till the end. But anyways, if you guys, I hope I hope it informed you and raised some awareness about Tourette syndrome. So obviously, do your own research on Tourette's if you want to learn more about it, and I highly recommend you watching some other videos and learning more about it. So I think I'm going to take questions now and then end the video a little early. I know I also came late, but like I said, guys, this whole sitting on the floor thing is not the most comfortable when I'm in this much pain. So let's go through videos. Okay, so this question says, these past days, Rashra, what do you think about Shia Muslims? So first of all, I am not Sunni, and I am not Shia. I don't identify as either one, um, for the reason that, and even if I did, I wouldn't tell you, because it divides our ummah. Too much nowadays, it's Sunni versus Shia. We all say La ilaha illallah. We are all brothers and sisters in Islam. So you can't ask me what I think about Shia Muslims, because, and this, sorry, I didn't mean that to like attack you, but like, no one can really ask like, what do you think about Shia Muslims? Because first of all, that's generalizing an entire group of people, and that it's a very dangerous thing to do, to put everybody in one box. So I understand like we're talking about Shia Muslims, but not all Shia Muslims practice in the same ways these days. So if you're asking, I'm going to assume that you mean more of what I think about like the self-mutilation that comes with, that some Shias engage in on this day. Obviously I don't condone it, and I don't believe that that's in a sin. I don't believe that's in the Quran. I don't believe that that's something that we are supposed to be doing religiously, and I think that our body has rights over us and we are not allowed to hurt it, because first of all, our body is an amana from Allah. So it's not, we don't really own this body. Allah owns this body, and we don't have the right to hurt it. It has rights over us. So I don't think that that's an appropriate way of managing grief, which is why they say they do it. And I don't think that this is something that is part of our religion. Anyways, moving on. I haven't gotten a copy of the book that you sent. I'm pretty sure you sent it to my old address. If this is what I'm thinking about, if you are, anyways, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was sent to my old address, if this is what I'm thinking, if my brain's in the right spot right now. But that's no big deal, because my grandma will just give it to me when it comes in. So anyways, yeah, that's my take on things. So I do know that there are a lot of Shia practices that I don't agree with, but there's also some things on the Sunni side that I don't agree with either. So, like I said, I don't identify as either, because it's caused a great divide in our ummah, and we were warned in the Quran, and every time I see it, I think about how there's so many different factions of Islam lately. We were warned against splitting off into sects, and that is what is happening nowadays, whether or not you want to believe it or agree with my terminology. This is what is happening. We are warned against it in the Quran, and we're doing it anyways. I refuse to identify as anything other than Muslim. Oh, okay, sorry. So there was, my memory is not the greatest. There was somebody who had offered to send me some books, so that's what I assumed. I actually think it was on Facebook, so that's what I assumed you meant by asking me if I had gotten that book yet. But no, I don't have a copy of that book. Yeah, you can send me a copy. I would greatly appreciate that. But email me and we can talk more about that. My email is the same as my channel name. It's jacquelinehasiman@gmail.com. So if you can remember that, send me an email. And always, my email, that email is open for anybody. If you have questions, for those of you who are not Muslim, if you have questions about Islam, if you have questions about mental illness, if you just want to talk to me, because I know messages on YouTube don't really work well all the time, but email me. If you want support, you just want to talk, anything, email me. That's what that email is for. It's open to you guys. But anyways, like I was saying before, I don't, even if I did identify as having the beliefs of the Sunni side or the Shia side, I wouldn't tell anybody what it was, because it divides our ummah, and not all Sunnis practice the same, and not all Shias practice the same. So it's just something that I like to avoid, putting people in boxes. And I understand that people have put themselves in boxes, but still, yeah. Okay, I know I have more questions. Let me... Okay, so hold on, wait, let me make sure that there's more up here. Alhamdulillah, this is I thought it was a question, but I think it's more of a comment. He had said, my neighbor suffering from mental illness, but in the last few years, he recovered and he is doing well now, which alhamdulillah, that is very good. It is possible to recover from things like depression, and it is possible to manage mental illnesses that are like biological, that don't really go away. But yeah, that's good. So hold on, I have really quick, I want to go back to this topic. I know I have more questions in between here, but I want to go back to this topic because it's concerning what I was just talking about. In the comment, it says, concerning your answer on the various sects, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said in an authentic hadith, right is clear and plain and wrong is clear and plain. So I think that and in between are doubtful matters which should be left alone. Yeah, I know. It's I don't think that Sunni is the right way or that Shia is the right way. I think that Muslim is the right way. And so, like I said, I think that there's right and wrong on each side. So my goal as a Muslim is not to figure out what side of Islam I belong on. It's to work towards my Jannah and work towards pleasing Allah, and it's to work towards finding the truth. And I think there's truth in both sides. And I think that if I were to confine myself to just what Sunnis believe or just what Shias believe, I wouldn't be following the right path. So that's how I do things, I guess. Let me go back because I think there was one more question. Oh yeah, I remember this question. I don't know if he's still here, but I was asked about if I follow the sunnah as far as drinking goes, and that question was asked right after the one time I only took one sip of my drink. And yes, I do almost always. I just at that point got distracted and really excited because I saw I had 4 viewers, and that's like the most I've ever had at one time. So I always follow the sunnah when I drink. I try to always sit down, but like on like rare occasions I do stand, depending on the situation. Hold on. So yeah, there's the answer to that. Oh, okay. Ow. Alright guys, we are at about... How did I crush my 250 steps this hour when I've been sitting this hour? Okay. That's 11:56. I'm going to wait a couple minutes and see if anybody else has any more questions. So ask away. Anything. You can ask me anything within reason. And then if nobody asks any more questions, then I'll just end the live stream. I'm super tired. I might go back to bed after this, to be honest. But that's okay, because I'm ill and in a lot of pain, and I'm allowed to take a couple days to recuperate. That's what I have allowed myself, so. I could fall asleep sitting like this. Okay, guys, I'm done waiting. I can't wait anymore. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.